Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's a testament to his towering impact that among those mourning him here today are leaders, presidents, prime ministers from all over the globe. Sitting right
and that's nice. That's very
Lindsey
nice.
met
All right. Thank you. President Trump live at the National Cathedral talking about Lindsey Graham. I know on one level he's got to be a little bit sick of this. All right. I'm sorry. It should have wrapped up last week. John McLaughlin joins us, the great pollster, helped get President Trump in power. He's great with the numbers, great checking the pulse of America. John, you're a fellow Catholic. I am not accustomed to funerals being dragged out like this 9, 10, 11, 2 weeks after the death. It wasn't like this in the olden days, was it?
Well, I'm not sure. Back in the olden days, my grandfathers were New York City detectives. Your father's a New York City police commissioner. I think they had an Irish wake and people grieved and that was it. But you go back to the Jewish religion, then they'll bury you within 24 hours because that was probably the healthiest thing to do back then.
I think there's something to that. Kennedy died. Kennedy was shot on Friday, November 22nd at 12:30 in the afternoon. Monday, November 25th, he was buried. I mean, that's kind of standard. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, I remember, I was in St. Barnabas Grammar School in Woodlawn when the nuns they made the announcement that the president had been shot and put your heads on the desk and pray. And then they sent us all home and we had to walk home. But that was all televised back then. The nation was very sad. I mean, he was the first Catholic president. So, and I'm not sure that John Kennedy, I'm not sure would have been with these big Democrat socialists right now. He probably would have been a Republican by now.
Yeah, so, that's wild. Yeah. Interesting memory. Hey, listen, John, obviously it's a midterm year, 2026. I am picking up more optimism about Republican and MAGA, the chances. And I'm also seeing like finger pointing already happening in the Democrat Party about who blew the midterms. These midterms are looking up for the good guys, aren't they?
Well, if we run a contrast election, like all these times I've been on your show, I say we have to play offense. And with the Democrats right now, they're giving us a lot to play offense with. They wanted it to be a referendum on Donald Trump. And we just put up a national poll Friday, 1,000 likely voters, where our presidential vote and our generic vote has been very accurate. But it's President Trump had a 49% job approval, 47 disapprove, 1,000 likely voters. If you told us it's not like one of these media polls where they have these numbers in the 30s because they only have like 34, 35% Trump voters. They stack it full of people that don't vote, illegal immigrants. The media, they just poll adults. We poll voters, likely voters, tell us they're going to vote in November. And we had the generic ballot was 44% Republican, 46 Democrat, which is in the margin of error. But we asked them, all things being equal, more likely to vote for a Republican, a free market capitalist Republican, or a big government socialist Democrat. And the Republican number rises to 49%, and the Democrats drop to 36%. So if the Republicans, go to Dallas, put out a platform where they say, look, we're for voter ID, which 77% of all voters support. We're for proof of citizenship to vote, which 84% of all voters support. We're for tax cuts instead of tax hikes, which the majority of voters support. We're for secure borders, which the majority of Americans support. And they list a whole bunch of things where they have a platform that the majority of Americans agree with them, and they can push the Democrats, expose them. Where you've got Democrats, this Democrat Socialists of America, they want to abolish the Senate. They want to change the Constitution. They want to get rid of our rights to free speech, freedom of religion, etc. I mean, we got a mayor in New York who absolutely is trying to drag Jewish voters out of the city so he can secure his reelection 4 years from now. So if the Republicans decide to stand on principle and run a contrast election, they can win in November.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And so at the same time, I feel like the campaign hasn't really started yet. The contrast hasn't been made yet. I feel like, we're still in this limbo. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the summer and everyone's checked out. Does this thing really kick off after Labor Day?
No, I mean, we've never had a midterm convention before, and that's what Donald Trump wants to do, right? So it's his idea. You got a historic president who believes in, keeping the party together and making them stand for popular things that he got elected. And so we'll have a convention in Dallas on September 9th and 10th. And for those of us in New York, we'll come back to New York and mark 9/11 and make our stand against radical Islam because of, the memories of our friends that lost their lives on 9/11 25 years ago. But it's something that right now you have all these different candidates. You still have primaries going on. There's going to be a primary in Michigan next week on Tuesday. There's going to be a primary in Tennessee. There's Massachusetts doesn't have its primary until September. So there's a lot of primaries. Florida has its primary in August. So you still have a lot of primaries going on. But once all those primaries are done and the candidates are set, we get to start running contrast campaigns. And so you're seeing that these candidates that the Democrats have nominated, say in Texas, Tallarico, the guy who believes in 6 genders and is okay for, kids to have operations and treatments when they're under the age of 18, when they're young kids, to change their gender. That's permanent and stuff like that. That's stuff he believes in. And then you got this guy El Sayed in Michigan. They haven't decided that primary until Tuesday, where him and a liberal Democrat, Haley Stevens, running against another socialist Democrat, who they're finding out today. There was an article that he favored a mosque being built on the site of 9/11, of the World Trade Towers. And this is the guy who the Democrats want to nominate in Michigan. He might be the Senate candidate. Mike Rogers is a little bit ahead, but it's going to be a close race in Michigan for U.S. Senate. And then you got Maine, this guy Plattner. They had to get rid of him. The guy was, I'm surprised that they haven't, they got to check and see if the statute of limitations ran out on some of those things that these women say he did to them. So,
hey, John, I want you to hear something. Act Blue. You know about Act Blue, right? They raise money. It's a very easy way to give. I know a lot of Democrats give small donations like throughout the year, $5, $10. It's very, very powerful. Listen to this little pitch that Act Blue makes online. Cut 10.
Imagine a world built just a little bit differently, where everyone has a hand in creating something better, a place where elected officials align with your values, and where elections are won because of everyday people, not just a select few. We believed in that future, but somehow it seemed so far away. We asked ourselves, how could we use technology to not only make it easy and accessible to raise money, but also help more people participate in our political process? Those questions inspired Act Blue. We wanted to provide simple fundraising tools for Democratic and progressive campaigns and causes, and put them in the hands of those impacted by our highest offices. As
All right,
a nonprofit.
Stop. So this is Act Blue. They have like name recognition total among Democrats. I've been to their little thing. It's easy as hell to donate. And I think it works. Like they aggregate the money. They put it out. They can give it to certain campaigns or whatever that is. I feel like it's brilliant. I feel like it works. And I feel like the Republicans don't have anything similar. Or do we?
We don't have anything similar. We do have WinRed, and we have other things other mechanisms that it's as easy to give. The big difference was we require, like when you have your credit card code, when you buy something from Amazon online or some of those companies online, you have to put your security code in, your CCV or whatever. And they don't require that. They didn't require it up through like the last election, which means that there could be a lot of fraud. And there could be, because you're seeing people come out with testimony that, like elderly old people that say they never contributed to it, and all of a sudden there's $100,000 in donations listed to them. It's like somebody's donating that money, and it's not going on their credit card, but somehow it's being paid through. And this is how Kamala Harris raised $1.5 billion after she got, put on the ticket after Joe Biden dropped out. And so they're not sure if that money is coming from domestic, legitimate, legal citizens or that are allowed to give. It could be, anybody in the world. And so there's investigations. John Solomon, who you probably know, has been at the forefront of investigating this with journalists, and it appeared, and there's been congressional hearings on it, and they had the head of Act Blue went before Congress and had to take the fifth, like scores of times, because they don't know where that money's coming from, and it could be coming from China, Russia, Iran, who knows, to support these Democrats. So we don't have anything that lacks the integrity that this does, and lacks the security. I mean, it's a serious problem, because when the Democrats, when Biden was in power, they didn't investigate it. They didn't care. They were just cashing the checks, and they were spending the money against Republicans. So Act Blue really needs to be, they really need to be looked at by Congress and by federal authorities, that if they took donations that were illegal and then distributed them to these campaigns. So it gave the Democrats a seriously unfair and possibly illegal advantage.
All right. Well, John McLaughlin, finger on the pulse of America, those amazing polls with your brother Jim. Hey, very quickly, whether it's based on data or your gut sense, who is the Republican and who is the Democrat nominee in 2028? Care to guess?
I don't know. Donald Trump can't run again. It's like he made me look good for a number of years. So it's like, I just want to get through November 3rd. Yeah. My guess is after November 3rd, November 4th, you will have a free-for-all on both sides with lots of candidates, Democrats going off, having a big battle between the big government socialists versus their usual liberals and the Republicans.
Yeah.
We will see. We'll see if anybody can be as good as Donald Trump.
All right. He has spoken, John McLaughlin. Thanks for all you do. If anybody wants to commission a poll and find out how popular they are or how unpopular they are, what's the website, please?
You go to McLaughlinOnline.com. We put up the poll results here. The poll I was citing to you is on there. We tend to be fairly transparent. So,
all right. Thank you, John.
They can go there. But thank you, and keep up the good work, getting the truth out.